You're a nightmare, do you know that? Do you? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back to sit down and do a recent reads video. I haven't done a book video. Obviously I've taken a little bit of time out for my surgery and I've taken so much more time than what I initially anticipated. But with back to school, yes, back to school, getting ill, and then having my mum be ill, juggling back to work, still being in recovery, work, this little one going from a baby to a toddler very, very quickly, and then dealing with a chest infection myself. Life has just been, yes, work. We don't have work today, on Thursday with Carol, okay? Carol. I've just had no time to sit down and film, so I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to get back into the swing of things, but I feel really happy now that I'm back and I'm sitting down today to discuss one of my favourite things in the world, which is books. You have to excuse my voice, it's just what happens when you get a chest infection. I feel like I've been ill for so long, I'm just used to it now. Florency, can we not hoover near? So I'm going to sit down today and just have a little chatty video with you all to sit down and talk about books that I've read in the last couple of months, because I haven't done any book content in a couple of months because I had my surgery August and we're now in November. Where is time going? Last book video was, I think, Someone I Used to Know book review by Page 2, and that was her summer release. And I'm now looking at my Goodreads, and I've read quite a few books, not a lot, and I can't relate to the person that I used to be when I used to read like 2 or 3 books a week. I don't know how I used to do that. I guess going from 1 to 2 children literally just decreases the time, and I think, like I said, because Florence doesn't really sleep and she's sometimes gets in with us, it's just hard. So the first book that I wanted to sit down and talk to you about is one that I was so disappointed in. To be honest, the last couple of months I've had a really disappointing stint of reading. There hasn't been, no, there's been a couple, but there hasn't really been like, oh my god, this is the best book I've ever read. Like I had with Evelyn Hugo back in the summer. That was amazing, and I've bought that for other people since then to read it. But I haven't really had anything hit that like epicness. So the first one I wanted to sit down and talk to you about was Sally Rooney, Conversations with Friends. I was so disappointed in this book. I didn't actually physically read it. I listened to it on audiobook. Over the summer I've really gotten into listening to audiobooks whilst I've been at work or whilst I'm cleaning the home. I don't have like a subscription to anything. I'm a part of like my library's online services called Libby. I don't know if it's a national thing or not, but there are thousands of audiobooks on there and it's completely changed my reading. I can never justify paying a monthly subscription, but getting it for free on my library app is amazing. So I listened to it on that. I just didn't like this book. I didn't like the main characters. I didn't like, spoilers, FYI, I didn't like just the way they went about things. So this is about a girl called Frances, who's 21. She lives in Dublin and she's sort of in that limbo stage of her life, not really too sure where she's going to go next. She's got a friend called Bobby, who they used to be partners, and they meet a couple called Nick and Melissa, who is Melissa's a journalist and Nick is her husband, and they meet and then they sort of dip in and out of like being friends in the same social circle. And the story is about Frances having an affair with Nick, and I just didn't like it. I don't like reading about affairs. I didn't like Frances as a main character. One of the main reasons why I read this is A, because I loved Normal People, and Normal People is one of my favourite books ever, and the adaptation is incredible. I think that's why I loved it so much, and this is being adapted by BBC 3. I think they've wrapped filming now, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about the TV show. I think I'll like it because I loved the way that Normal People was filmed and the music choices and everything about that. I'm going to feel about it in that format. So yeah, I read this. I gave this 2 stars. Didn't rate it at all. I really didn't like it. Don't recommend it. Next up is, I can't tell you how many I've listened to. I listened to them on my app, like I said, and I started listening to Angus Thongs, and it was called Full Frontal Snogging, the book, but the film was Perfect Snogging. Right, let's just flash back to like 2008 Jess. I fucking loved that film. I was all about like that era of like Wild Child with Alex Pettyfer and Emma Roberts and what is her name? She's married to, or she's with Rupert Grint. Georgia, is it? It's not Georgia Nicholson, because that's who this is. Georgia someone with the brown hair with, is it Aaron Johnson? I can't remember his name. I loved the film. I thought it was brilliant. And you know what? These books have not aged well at all. I think I've read to 4 of the books. It's a 10-book series. It's a YA series. And it's about Georgia and her group of friends, and they've got like this snogging scale, and they're teenagers and they're clueless and they're really immature and dramatic. It's just light-hearted, easy read. The audiobook's like 4 hours long, so I can get it done in like a couple of days if I'm busy at work or whatever. And it's just so funny, so ridiculous, and it's light-hearted. I need to continue on with the series, but I can't remember which one I got to, because they've changed the titles slightly. On the bright side, I'm now the girlfriend of a sex god. That's number 2. I read that one. See, these were published early 2000s. Knocked Out by My Nunga Nungas, I've read that one. Dancing in My Nuddy Pants, I think that's where I'm up to, because they go on a school trip to Paris. It's just lovely. I love it. It's funny. Like I said, it hasn't aged well at all, actually. But terminology and the sentences you couldn't say nowadays. But it's lovely. And I didn't realise that Louise Renison, she passed away recently. Which is really sad. And one thing that I love about the audiobooks, I definitely recommend the audiobooks, is that it's narrated by Louise. So she wrote it, so her delivery is how it should be, which is brilliant, and I loved it. Just talking about it is making me smile, which shows that it's a good book, or novelty flashback to my younger years, I guess. Next up on my list is a graphic novel series. So this is my first graphic novel series that I have ever read, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, and I read volumes 1 to 4. Yeah, I did. What can I say about these? So I really enjoyed them. I picked them up because I got them from my library, and it took me so long to get them from my library. It was such a long wait. The reason why I picked these up is A, because they're really hyped on the internet, like Book Instagram, BookTube, everything. And then also it's being adapted into a TV series for Netflix, which I think is going to be amazing. And I wanted to read them anyway because I've heard so much about them. All gone. That's okay. But I wanted to read them. No more. I wanted to read them first before I then watched the TV show, and I think the TV show is going to be really wholesome. The cast look amazing. I don't know when it's coming out. I would imagine next year, but I just wanted to give them a go. So it basically follows this guy called Charlie and Nick, and Charlie is gay in high school, and it basically follows Nick come to terms with the fact that he's bisexual. He is into women, but he really likes Charlie, and then they're in high school establishing a sort of like a relationship, and like first time and things like that. Good graphic novel, yes. It's my only one that I've read. Would I recommend it? Yes. I think it's really beneficial for the young adult, like teenagers. I feel like YA has a lot of layers for a reader. I like YA. This isn't appropriate for me as a 28-year-old mother. It's quite young for me, whereas some other YAs I love. This wasn't my sort of bag. I really enjoyed it. I gave them 3 stars throughout all 4 of them. So we've got volume 1 here. We have got volume 2, which is this one. There we go. Volume 3 is when they go to Paris on a school trip. Seems to be a common theme at the moment. And then we've got volume 4, which recently came out, which is this one. It's just not targeted for me, I guess, but it's really good. It's got so many like different characters. It really explores the LGBTQIA. There's so much representation in there, which is amazing, and it's lovely to see and read, and it'll be lovely to watch. Not bad books, and when they continue to come out I will read them because I'm interested, but I wouldn't sit there and say it was my favourite that I've read. Oh god, that made me jump. Don't do that to me. It's okay, it's fake. We've literally just had Halloween. Did you see me? I absolutely shat myself. It's fake. I put it in the bin. Gone. Here, underneath my mum's bum. That was terrifying. Spider in the bin, that was absolutely terrifying. Next, it's gone, baby girl, it's gone in the bin. Next, I have a book that I wanted to sit down. Yes, spider, it's gone, okay? Yes, it's gone. Next, I have got a book that I wanted to sit down and talk about, and that is Heidi Swain's Summer at Skylark Farm. Now, I did a video back in the summer, couldn't tell you what it was called, but I basically talked about books I wanted to read off my bookshelf. I did it. I'm so proud that I actually read a book off that bloody video. I've been meaning to read this book for years, at least like 3 or 4 years. I hated this book. Did I DNF it? Did I finish it? Did I skip it? I gave it 1 star. Oh, I don't understand. My friend Katie, who watches my videos, she's part of my book club. She loves these books. Katie, if you're watching this, did you like this? I hated this book. It was so boring. So it's about a girl called Amber. Couldn't even tell you her name because it was that dull. And she lived in London, and she got offered like a job, like promotion, but her partner was moving to, her boyfriend Jake was moving to the countryside to help out his family farm. I really liked the sound of it and the promise of it, but it was just so anticlimactic, and like the drama. Chicken. There is a chicken on there, right? The drama in here was not drama at all. It was like, oh, what field are we going to put the funfair in? I was like, Jesus Christ, like, give me a bit of depth. And then some woman like banged her head because of a fox was trying to kill a chicken. Like, it was just so dull and boring, and I can't remember if I finished it, but I know like the ending was all like sweetly tied up with a bow, and it was just, I hated this book. Yeah, was not the one for me. I'm tempted to unhaul all of her books now, although the next one is a Christmas one, careful. So I think I might try the Christmas one, and if I don't like it, I'm getting rid of them all. So if that does happen and you're local to Norwich and you want about 10 of her Heidi Swain books, leave me a comment and I can get them to you. It's gone in the bin. Spider's in the bin. Okay? Okay. Good girl. Yeah, not the one. Didn't enjoy it. Found it really boring. I'm sorry if you liked this. Shh. I'm sorry if you like money. You're funny. I'm sorry if you really like this book and I've insulted you. I just thought it was really anticlimactic and I just didn't enjoy it at all. So that put me in a massive slump. So thank you. Thanks for that. Didn't know where to go next after that Heidi Swain. I didn't know whether to start like a Cassie Clare, because I can always rely on those sorts of books, but they're really chunky. So I didn't really want to go down that route, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't want to continue with my Rochelle Meads because I wasn't in a mood for it. So what did I do? I started a new series. Did I need to start a new series when I got so many on the go? No, but I did. So the series that I started was my Percy Jackson series. I only had this series on my shelf since it was the summer. I got them just after my birthday, I think. And I've read 2 and I'm currently on book 3. Oh my god, I love this series. It's a middle grade. I don't know what we call middle grade in the UK. It's just like a children's book. But they're so good. Like, they're so good. I never got into these as a child. I was of like the Harry Potter era. Although I didn't really read them that much as a kid because they terrified me. I was very scared of them. But reading these, they are so lovely and magical, and there's 2 films made from these 2. The films are crap. Don't recommend them at all. If you've read the film, if you watch the films and not read the books, pick up the books. They're so much better. But Rick Riordan didn't have anything, the author, he didn't have anything to do with the films, but he's now starting to do a TV series dedicated to the first book with Disney Plus. So it's going to be a series. And I think he said that they're hoping to film in 22 and it will be released in 23. So we've got a long time to go, but they're so good. So we've got Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and then we've also got Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. So this is 1, this is 2. They're relatively thin books, they're not that bad. 352, 265. So small reads. Pre 2-year Jess could finish these in a week, both of them, but it took me longer than that. But I just really enjoyed them. I loved, so basically it follows Percy, who starts off in a school, like an academy I think, and he sees some weird stuff. He's not really too sure what goes on. Turns out he is a demigod. Is it a demigod? Half-blood? He is the son of a Greek god, and that Greek god is Poseidon. And he basically goes on this, so he then goes to Camp Half-Blood, with all these other like kids that have got a parent that is a god, like Zeus and things like that. I can't remember all of the names. Athena? Is it Athena? There's so many to learn. So he's in this camp, and then there's basically a quest to go and do. So he needed to get the lightning bolt back to Zeus. And it's just really wholesome. I love the friendship dynamic. I loved this one. This one was really, really good. And we see so much like Greek mythology, and there'll be something and I'll Google it, and then there'll be like a visual representation as to what that thing is, like Medusa and things like that. And it's based on like stuff that's already out there and then made into a new fictional story. I just loved it. So that's that one. Sea of Monsters I didn't love as much, and since doing my research on this series, I've heard that this is like, out of the 5 in this series, this is normally people's bottom. This basically finishes, this is about, they go to an island where there's a cyclops. I didn't know what a cyclops was until I googled it, and then I remembered it's about this monster with one eye. And they then go on a quest to get the golden fleece. Pardon? You're wet? It's okay. So then they go on a quest to get the golden fleece to help the camp, and it's just really feel good action hero style thing, but with family, and it's a children's book, so it's easily read. It's not too dialogue heavy, it's not too plot heavy. It's just the perfect balance, and it's such an easy read. So when I'm in a slump and I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just continuing on. Currently reading Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse, which is book 3. I'm literally about 40 pages in, and I'm really enjoying it. So I love these. You can also get them on like the Libby app as an audiobook, but reading them in physical form I love. And then the final book that I have read since I have sort of done a video is one that I DNF'd, and that is The Shelf by Helly Acton. My friend Rosie had this. Florence! My friend Rosie had this, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds like a really good concept. It's like I said, it's by Helly Acton. I've never heard of her before, but I know that Carrie Hope Fletcher read one of her books. Not this one, I don't think. It was the newer one, and she loved it. So I was like, she must be good. Maybe it's just me at the moment with chick lit. So it's about Amy, and she thinks she's about to get engaged to her boyfriend. Turns out that when she thinks that she's going to go to like a date night, she ends up that she's on a Big Brother style reality TV show called The Shelf, and there's 6 other women in there that have been like thrown in there. You got a chance to win £1 million, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the friendship. Pardon? Chocolate? Yeah. No, you're not having chocolate. It's always lunchtime. Lunchtime. You can have some chocolate for your pudding if you're a good girl, okay? You can have some Smarties. Yeah? I'm almost finished. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the friendships. It felt very false. It just dragged. It was so long. I DNF'd it, and that's something that I've really started doing this year. Previously I'd continue with it and just keep reading because I was halfway through. I DNF'd this at like 58%. I just didn't want to read it anymore, and I didn't enjoy it, and so I wanted to just get rid of it. I had it on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy. 4 women, 6 women, 4 weeks, 1 house. Who will be left on the shelf? I liked the concept, but it just drags, and I thought it was really boring. So and you know what, sometimes if I DNF a book, I skip to the end, or like just quickly like skim over it just to see what happens. I was so uninterested in that book. Sorry, I'm just getting Florence's stomach here. Fully finished, all tied up nice and neatly with a bow on top, but not for me. I do love you. You're beautiful little sausage, aren't you?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Sausage?
Cheese.
You want some cheese?
Yeah.
What, for your lunch?
Black.
And some sausage rolls?
Yeah.
Sausage roll and some crisps?
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. So I'm gonna go and do this little one some lunch. And you have some chocolate. Yeah, good girl. I love you. You're a beautiful little thing, aren't you? Aren't you? Say, I'm beautiful! Anyway, I'm gonna go and sort out this little thing, some lunch. Sorry about the voice, about the noise, about everything, my little rants about my books. But I wanted to be honest and talk you through what I've read recently. Leave a comment below, let me know what you've read recently. If you've got any recommendations, any Christmas books that you've read, please leave them down below, because I really want to read. Like, I don't have time to, I don't think I'm going to be able to read like 3 or 4 Christmas books this year. So if you've got a really good Christmas book that's not naff and not predictable and boring, leave it down below, because I want to read like 1 really good Christmas book. Hopefully next year I'll read enough Christmas books throughout the year so I can do like a Christmas book recommendation too video, because I did one a couple of years ago, but I'd love to do an updated one, but I just haven't had a chance to do that this year. So I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking with me. I feel really happy to be back filming content. Now I've got to sit and edit it, which is the problem. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Are you gonna come say bye?
Bye.
Oh, did you put on your cat ears?
Yeah.
Can you say bye?
Bye.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Can you blow a kiss? Blow.